This is KGW News at 11.
Good evening and thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Joe Ranieri. New tonight, the Oregon Department of Transportation has started an ambitious effort to make thousands of crosswalks across the state a little safer. Some will be modified, some even closed to reach that goal. Art Edwards talked with ODOT about the project.
Joe, it's all part of the Oregon Department of Transportation's ADA and Safe Crossings program. Work is already underway and it will likely last for more than a year.
Crosswalk safety is a big issue in the Portland metro area and across the state. ODOT has a plan to build safe spaces for people to walk or roll across the state's roads.
This is really all about a very comprehensive effort to make crosswalks everywhere safer for everybody involved.
Part of the effort involves making more than 25,000 crosswalks compliant with Americans with Disabilities standards. Others simply need to be made safer, or in some cases, they'll be closed.
We have to evaluate what the situation is at each individual crossing.
ODOT engineers will evaluate the crosswalks to decide which crossings are safe and what needs to be done to improve them. Things they'll look at include the number of crashes at an intersection. Have pedestrians or bicyclists been hit? Traffic count. How busy is the intersection? Whether a person using a wheelchair can get through, and is there a pedestrian signal at the intersection? High traffic areas like Barber Boulevard will see a lot of intersections evaluated. Work has already been done on Southeast Powell Boulevard near Cleveland High School, an effort to make it safer for students walking in the area. The process of evaluating and fixing crosswalks will speed up in the months to come.
People are going to notice a difference in their neighborhoods, and we hope the neighbors will understand this is going to take a little bit, but we think that people will recognize this and will see that this is going to make things safer.
Reporting from Portland, Art Edwards, KGW News.
Police say a man was shot and killed in Northeast Portland this afternoon. It happened at Northeast 1st and Hancock. That's in the Elliott neighborhood. Around 2 o'clock, officers found the victim dead, but no suspects in sight. So far, police haven't made any arrests. This marks Portland's 8th homicide this year. Meanwhile, the case is growing against a Hillsborough coffee stand owner. 61-year-old Jeffrey Hebner was arrested earlier this month on charges involving sex abuse and rape, involving 8 job applicants and employees. Now, prosecutors say 14 more women have come forward with some similar allegations. Tim Gordon reports that a judge set Hebner's bail at $700,000 this week after hearing the specifics in the case.
This is Jeffrey Hebner in court on February 1st, facing 26 counts, including rape, sodomy, sex abuse, public indecency, and solicitation. It all stems from his alleged activity as the owner of Dream Girls Espresso, a bikini barista stand on Tualatin Valley Highway in Hillsborough. At the time, police described his actions from 2015 to November of last year as a criminal abuse of power against young women, and said,
"It is likely that there could be others out there."
That was telling. In court paperwork connected to a release hearing this week, prosecutors wrote, since this case has been pending, 14 more women have reached out to law enforcement, and the investigation is ongoing. They also laid out specifics of the allegations made against Hebner, much of it too graphic to describe here fully. Prosecutors say it started with job applicants tricked into going not to the coffee stand, but to Hebner's home for an interview, where they were informed the barista job included nudity and performing in a sexual way for customers, and were told to disrobe. In one such instance this past November, prosecutors say D, for the defendant, offered KC shots of liquor and lines of cocaine, ultimately forcibly touched KC all over her body, and attempted to rape KC, but she was able to physically block him with her leg. The 19-year-old KC ultimately left and made a report to police that got the case going. Prosecutors say the abuse and exploitation continued for employees at the coffee stand, where several women described the regular occurrence of naughty coffee orders. Those required them to expose their bodies and provide a sexual performance for customers who paid extra fees. The young women told prosecutors hundreds of dollars could be made in a single shift, and that Hebner got a cut of the money and often got naughty coffees himself. In conclusion, prosecutors wrote Hebner preyed on particularly vulnerable young women, writing, for years he believed he was getting away with horrific acts of sexual abuse, that he was untouchable. Now Hebner's in jail with bail set at $700,000. Tim Gordon, KGW News.
Nike is asking the city of Portland to provide security in stores in Northeast Portland. Now, the Oregonian says it's sent a letter delivered to the mayor's office on Thursday. Nike wants the city to cover the cost of having off-duty police officers handle security due to a spike in crime over the last few years. Late last year, a KGW investigation analyzed Portland crime data and found that since 2019, the store has reported 437 shoplifting cases to police. The mayor's office told the Oregonian meetings between Nike and the city are ongoing as they look to find a solution. A Prineville family hopes for strength and healing for their infant twins currently in the ICU with RSV. Despite a statewide decline in hospitalizations, the situation for the babies remains serious. Both are still on ventilators fighting off pneumonia. Alma McCarty shares their story.
Two tiny fighters now fighting a serious respiratory illness.
The twins were born at 32 weeks. Their actual due date was, I think, the same day they were starting to show symptoms for RSV.
The twins' uncle, Ryan Hood, explains both Holden and Hartley were airlifted to the ICU in Portland from Prineville earlier this week.
The ventilators are taking away the strain and stress of breathing so their bodies can focus on healing. They're both about 6 pounds. Very tiny.
This isn't the twins' first time in the NICU. Hood says they spent about a month in the hospital in Bend, only home for about 3 weeks. Parents Lindsay and Garrett Puckett now asking for prayers and support for their babies.
They're very grateful for the outpouring of love and support from friends, family, and strangers, and just community in general.
Oregon health officials reported a decline in community spread of flu and RSV, predicting a drop in respiratory virus hospitalizations in the coming weeks. At this point, they do remain high. As RSV season ramps down, this family still urges caution and care.
It's very serious, and honestly, the twins hadn't really even left the house other than appointments. So it can be very easy to get infected.
In North Portland, Alma McCarty, KGW News.
A quick reminder tonight, the Morrison Bridge is closed all weekend to traffic, including bikes and pedestrians. City crews will be painting and doing some maintenance. The closure started late last night and wraps up Monday morning at 5 o'clock.